Everyone, I know it's been an awful long time since I made a video of any kind, but I just got a new computer a few months ago, and it wasn't capable of, being able to plug in my camcorder and all that, but I finally got that fixed. I had to order some new parts off of eBay, have them put in and all that, but got that done. And then my grandpa, his garage, it caught on fire and burned up back in January. So the fire department came, and it was like 7 below zero, and they're out there fighting the fire. Which, yeah, the building was a loss, but we finally got that tore down and hauled away about a week or so ago. But the main thing was the fire department was able to save all the animals they had inside. Turkeys, ducks, chickens, and all that. So everything's okay. My cousin came down and took the animals back to his small farm, so they got plenty of room to run and all that. But so it's been pretty busy here the last few months with that and other things. But I just wanted to say, thanks to all the new subscribers that have, found some of my older videos and things. But also wanted to say thanks for everybody that was already subscribed and, stayed there and didn't unsubscribe, actually stuck with it. Because I left a channel comment a while ago saying, I'd be doing some videos, but hadn't really had a chance. But, well, I finally had a little bit of time, so I thought I'd go ahead and do one. And what I want to do it on is a couple different things, but I'm going to start off by saying, if you had a choice between, say, all generic silver, one would be, say Ohio Precious Metals, for example. I've heard a lot of people shy away from them because a lot of their bars and things and rounds, which I've got some of their rounds, but some of them have the symbol on it where, the recycled symbol like you see on different other items, cardboard, plastic, whatever. Well, it says it's recycled. But, so people don't want to buy those. They're a lower premium than, say, your other name brand bars from, some of your bigger places. Apmex has got their name on some, and just about any company out there. I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but, they all have, their own name brand bars. So people always gravitate toward those and leave some of the others, alone because of that recycled symbol. But in actuality, if people were to think about it, which, I didn't think a whole lot of it at first, because to me, I'm going to buy the cheapest thing that's out there. If it's 0.999, same purity, generic's fine, because I care more about ounce weight than actually what's on it, for the most part. So, yeah, it's fun, to buy a collectible piece, high premium piece once in a while. If it's something you really like, or, you found a way you could easily flip it and make more money to buy more generics if you want to go that route, that's fine. But I wouldn't put all my money into high premium stuff, because a lot of times, after a high premium item comes out from whoever makes it, if you don't sell it almost immediately, most of it's real hard to, get very much premium for, and you're going to lose a big chunk of your premium in the end. So, with that being said, I don't understand a lot of times why people will shy away from a bar that has a recycled symbol on it versus, a bar that might just have a company logo on it, whoever it may be. Because if you were to think about it, it's all recycled silver, every bit of it. Now your government issue rounds, I'm not 100% sure on those, but I would even say a big portion of those from around the world is recycled as well. For one, there's not enough silver, around, mined every year to keep up with the industrial plus the investor demand. So that's one thing. But on the other hand, if it was not for recycled silver, you ought to be thankful that, it is recycled. For one, it's cheaper because they don't have to go to, some mine somewhere in the world, buy the raw ore, have it processed down to the purity they're looking for, and then strike their bar. They'd cost a whole lot more money, for one. So, and another thing, if all the companies around, like Apmex, Provident, Golden State Mint, and a lot of the others, for example, if they did not, this product wouldn't exist. Because the main thing is, if you look at any of their generic items, they buy it as well. So what you got to realize, if you go to any website, I don't care who it is that's buying silver, if you don't see a large quantity of it, you know, for sale, you know, like secondary market, like let's say I were to sell them a bunch of silver as well as everybody else that goes to their site was to sell it, but which you know people are at all times, people sell it for whatever reasons, but you never see very much of the circulated, what I call it, secondary market silver come back for sale. You don't see it. So if they're not reselling it at a profit, why would they even fool with buying it? You ever thought of that? You know, if I'm going to, you know, all these people around are selling to, you know, these major places, but yet they're not reselling the same product, what are they doing with it? So after I thought for a while, they're buying this silver off of people, because that's usually the cheapest way to get it, is to buy it off of, you know, an individual on the secondary market. Buy it off that person. They don't care really what it looks like. It's just, you know, beat up, whatever. As long as it's the purity they want, that's all that matters. They can melt those bars, rounds, whatever, melt them down, restrike them with their own company logo on it. So in my honest opinion, I think that's where a lot of the rounds and bars come from that say, you know, whatever company it is, APMEX, Provident, you know, whoever. So, you know, if there's, you know, buying silver off the public, but they're not selling a whole lot of circulated stuff, then you got to ask yourself, why would they buy it if they're not going to use it? But they are using it. They're melting it down, making their own name brand things, and then they can sell it at a better premium. You know, it cuts out the cost of messing with the mines, hoping they can find enough, trying to get a deal going there, and, you know, getting it refined and all that stuff. So that's something to think about. If it was not for the recycled part, you know, now your local coin shops, that's a different scenario altogether. 'Cause yeah, they sell a lot of circulated stuff. But for people like myself and a lot of other, you know, people around the world, you know, they don't have coin shops in their area. Or very few. I have none around here. I mean, that's it. There's just no actual coin dealers, or, you know, that sell bullion around here. You just got to buy online, or, you know, maybe catch somebody on a ad somewhere, you know, that might have something. But for the most part, online is about the only option I have. As long as, you know, well, a lot of other people. So, you ought to be thankful that there's, you know, recycled silver out there. Because I would say probably 90% of all your generic stuff is recycled. You know, it's just, that's the way it is. There's not enough of it out there coming out of the ground every year for all these companies around to make it and sell it and keep these, you know, prices the same as they are now, premium wise and all that. So just because a bar may have a recycled symbol on it, if it's cheaper, go for it. Because, you know, you could take two, let's say 10-ounce bars of silver. One's a high precious metals, and one's, you know, pick your company, a high top-notch company, say Johnson Matthey, Hard, whatever. Well, if you were to take both of those bars to a lab somewhere, and don't look at the bar, you don't see the actual silver bar. What you're going to look at is the readout that the lab will give, you know, after they do their tests on it to prove, you know, the purity, the weight, and, you know, all the other calculations they do. They'll be identical. Like NTR, you know, they're one of your cheapest 10-ounce bars out there. So, and there's no difference in one of those versus somebody else's. It's a different logo. You're paying for a design. Now, if it's a design, you know, like I said, something you really like or want to have, that's fine. Go for it, whatever. But I would say in the beginning, until you get a comfortable amount, whatever you feel is comfortable, you know, get that before you start venturing into anything else bullion-wise. You know, just stack ounces. That's the main thing in my opinion. Now, once, you know, you learn some more about different things, trends, you know, read some forums, you know, do a little research, you might find out later on, you know, that, hey, there's a new product coming out from, you know, whatever mint, and you know, you think it's going to be real hot, low mintage, and you want to buy that and try to flip it for some quick profit. Nothing wrong with that. Got to be careful though, it don't always work out. So you don't want to put too much money out there on, you know, a chance. Yeah, you'll still have the silver, but as with most silver products, you know, when in the beginning they're hot, everybody wants them, and then after a few months go by or whatever, and the next big thing comes out that everybody wants, what you had before, premiums have gone away, and sometimes you're lucky to get the issue price back. And I've seen a lot of people sell stuff for quite a bit lower than what it was when it first came out, just to unload it because, you know, they paid too much and can't get rid of it. So you got to be real careful and real selective on what you actually end up, you know, throwing your money at. So I say bullion, you know, is the one way to go. Now another option too is 90% silver, which is always great, easy to buy, easy to sell, and all that. So that's always a good option as well. I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. I'd say a good mix of the two is always good. But yeah, just try to get whatever's lowest premium. Now another thing I wanted to mention, I hear a lot of people, you know, on the internet and everywhere else saying things like, well, you know, if we buy up all, you know, get all this silver, shortages, you know, going to run the price up and everything. I don't believe any of that. For one reason, it doesn't matter how much silver that I buy, you buy, the, you know, $1 million buys you hear about once in a while from some of the big dealers saying, you know, oh, well, we done a $2 million order and whatever. That makes no difference. I mean, you can buy all you want to buy physical, and it's not going to change that spot price one bit. And the reason is, the spot price that you look at on, say, Kitco or any of your brokerage account tickers, you know, Thinkorswim, things of that sort, that's all paper. And it's all run through an exchange, you know, the exchanges, COMEX, and all that. When you go into your coin shop or place an order with whoever, don't matter how big or small it is, you pay for it, you leave. It's not, you know, that order's not run through no exchange or nothing like that. So it's not really recorded, so to speak. I mean, yeah, you go out there and make a $2 million order. I mean, the company, they're going to keep a record, I'm sure. But as far as the markets go, not going to do a thing. And when you hear the word shortage, you can almost guarantee if you go to any website that sells bullion, premiums are going to be higher when they think there's a shortage. Everybody's running out trying to buy what they can. But all that does when the word shortage is mentioned is raise the premiums. Because you can go back to some of the charts and things, and when you can remember, you know, from memory or whatever, and you can see when, you know, some of the premiums on certain stuff is, you know, maybe $5, $6 an ounce premium. But if you look at the spot price at that time, it's really not a whole lot of difference. The only thing it changes is the premium. That's it. There's really not a big shortage of silver, in my opinion, because when they say shortages, you can still go buy silver. You can buy 10-ounce bars or maybe, you know, 1-ounce rounds or whatever. What shortages is a shortage in product. The silver's still there. It's just not in the form that people want. You know, maybe they run low on, I don't know, a certain bar, you know, with a design on it might come out. Or even Eagles, you know. I've seen where they say shortages in 90% silver. Premiums go up on that. But that's not a shortage in silver. It's a shortage in a form of silver. You know. So, people are going to pay more for it. Like you got a car lot, for example, you know, and you got a bunch of brand new cars, all different colors, you know, and you run low on a certain color, say a green car or whatever it is, you know. You'll run in a shortage of, not that car, you got plenty of them. You got plenty of 2014, say, I don't know, Camaros or Mustangs or whatever. Plenty of them on your lot. What you got a shortage in is a certain color. So being that it's, you know, less availability in that color, then you can usually get more money out of it because, you know, you just don't have as much of it. And that's sort of just like the coins. Silver, which would be the base model of the car, plenty of them, they're out there. But the design of that coin, bar, round, whatever, you know, that's different. Just like the color on the car. You know, you can kind of say like a design on a certain piece of silver is the paint job on the car. The underlying thing's still the same. Identical. Strip away all the paint, get down to bare metal, you still got a 2014, you know, Camaro, Mustang, whatever. Strip away the design, you still got an ounce of silver. Just regular silver. It's all basically, you know, it's all the same. Some people I've seen pay crazy prices for stuff just because it's different. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, if you're just a die-hard collector of a certain thing, got, you know, the money in a good stack already, you know, core position, fine, do what, you know, go ahead if that's what you want to do. But I just wouldn't sink a whole bunch of money into top premium things, because in the long run, ounces is what's going to matter. I mean, that's just plain and simple. You want to accumulate weight. Now, you can, you know, do it in whatever form you want, but personally, from my own experiences, when it comes to bullion, silver-wise, 90% is always good. But the best, in my opinion, is 10-ounce bars of silver to 1-ounce bars. You know, you can have a good mix, but I just, in my opinion, you know, from selling a lot over the years, 10-ounce bars about as much as you want to go in a solid piece. I mean, it's just kind of hard sometimes for one person. If silver were to get, say, you know, back up in the $50 range, which it will probably one of these days. But, you know, when it gets up that high, if you got something, you know, like a 100-ounce bar, that's pretty expensive for one person to try to cough up all that money at one time. So you really can't expect to get too much of a premium out of it. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you bought it cheap enough, you know, and you're still making good money, then who really cares about premium anyway? But, you know, sometimes it's pretty hard to sell a high-dollar item. So, if I were going to buy anything, like I do, I keep it 10 ounces and less. That's common, you know, just easy. And if you want, you know, if you got the money and you're looking to buy even 100 ounces, you know, don't rush out there, in my opinion, and buy a 100-ounce bar. Get, you know, you can go 100 1-ounce rounds, or, you know, 10 10-ounce bar. Mix it up, you know, get different things, because your smaller denominations will be easier to sell. You know, at $50, you know, 10 ounces, that's a lot of money. But to sell, because you'll have to sell it all to one person. But if you got 10 1-ounce pieces, it's a lot easier to find 10 different people that can cough up, you know, a little bit of money than one person for a bunch of money. So that's something to always consider too. Because one thing I've learned from talking to a lot of people and even my own experiences, whenever you buy any kind of metal, I don't care, gold, silver, platinum, whatever, it could be your favorite piece in the world, you know, you've wanted it forever and all this, but always keep this one thing in the back of your mind. Now, regardless, like I said, of what the piece is, the number one thing is, can I resell it? How hard would this be to resell? Now, I know people are going to be saying, well, you know, I'm buying this, I'm going to keep it forever, I'll never sell it. Well, never's an awful long time, and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You know, you could, God forbid, you know, lose your job, or get sick and have a lot of bills, or, you know, another emergency. Even your car could break down. Anything can happen. You just don't know. And if you've got a bunch of stuff that you like, but it's hard to sell, you might find yourself in a bind. So yeah, a few pieces here and there is always fun to break up. You know, sometimes it gets a little, I don't know, monotonous just buying the same old things. But there's plenty of generic rounds out there. I mean, there's thousands of designs from all over the place. And roughly, you know, biggest part of the time, they carry within a certain premium range. So that's always fun. But you start buying a lot of these high premium collectible type things, you know, from all these different big mints around the world. Some of that stuff you might have a tough time unloading, even at the price you paid for it, you know, issue prices. So you always got to think, you know, I try to buy stuff that's got more or less like almost a set premium to it, so to speak. You know, like the Buffalo rounds, for example, that you see like everybody makes. Those are very popular silver rounds. They make millions of them. But you can almost guarantee that any time, regardless of spot, you can get anywhere from, I don't know, $1.50 to $2 premium on them. That's pretty standard. You understand that. So, and you know you can sell them. If I got a roll of 20 or 10 or however many buffalo rounds I need to sell, I guarantee I can throw them up on a forum or just about anywhere online that, you know, you do any selling and get rid of them, no problem. They're a recognizable design regardless of what mint struck them. You know, about every mint out there makes a buffalo round. So they're easy to sell, easy to buy. They don't command a big premium, so when you buy them, you're not paying a huge premium, which in turn means when you sell it, you don't have to ask for a big premium. So kind of remember that when you have to pay a big premium to acquire something, that means you're going to have to ask a big premium in return to try to do any good, you know. So that's something to think. If you could buy something cheap enough, that, you know, say, you see deals sometimes at certain places, they'll run a deal like 89 cents over spot on per ounce on maybe 10 ounce bars or per 1 ounce round or whatever. If you can buy it cheap like that, then you know you can unload it anytime for very little premium, and you don't have to worry about it because you didn't lose the premium to start with. I mean, you'd be awful mad, you know, to yourself if you end up paying, say, a $10 premium on an ounce of silver, and then 6, 7, 8 months down the road, silver is basically at the same price it is now, but, you know, something comes up and you need to sell it. If the popularity factor is gone, you're going to have an awful hard time getting that premium back. But whereas if I bought a coin, or a round, I should say, at maybe $1, $1.50 premium, or whatever, you know I can pretty well get that regardless of what price, you know, spot is, just because that's just an accepted premium. So, you know, it's a lot different. And on the other hand, if you pay a real low premium and spot goes up, then you don't have to worry about, you know, well, I paid $10 premium, so I got to wait for spot to go up $10 to break even on this piece. I paid $1.50 premium. Spot goes up $1.50. Worst case scenario, I could sell it at melt to cover my emergency. Sell it real fast. Don't have to worry about losing any money. So that's something to think about. Always keep in the back of your mind, can I sell it? So that's something really to think about. That's a question I always ask myself. Can I sell it? Because one day, sooner or later, something's going to come up and you may be stuck, you know, having to sell that piece. Even if you don't want to, you always got to keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, like, you know, I just wanted to, you know, kind of throw a few things out there. Been, like I said, a long time since I made a video or done anything. So, because I, you know, been busy, hadn't had, you know, the capabilities even for the longest time. But, you know, if any new people happen to run across this channel, you know, you can subscribe, leave a comment, you know, all the usual stuff, you know. So just remember those few things, you know. All the physical, you know, buy all you can when you can. That's all great. But just remember that regardless of how much we buy, spot price isn't going to really be affected, just for the simple fact that it's not calculated through any kind of exchange. Now, I could be wrong on this last point, but this is something I've thought about too. Physical buys in the, you know, actual physical form, gold and silver, the only time I see that it could affect spot price is when a country's doing the buying, whether it be India, China, whoever, because they're not buying, you know, like the average person. Even the people that are not what I consider average, but, you know, can buy even $2-3 million worth of, say, silver at one whack, you know. That's nothing. When you got countries like China that can buy, you know, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 500 ton of gold, you know, that big of a allotment, then that kind of stuff is going through some kind of a channel. You know, they're not just buying that off a, you know, XYZ coin shop down the road. They're getting that government-wise, you know, things like that. So that's another thing, you know, that will move prices in the short term. But all the buyers out here on, you know, Main Street, you know, Wall Street moves the ticker, but Main Street, you know, we're the ones buying the physical. So You know, all the physical we buy really doesn't make any difference. The only thing you'll see change is premiums on certain items. If they run out, I've seen it happen before where all the major dealers in the United States didn't have hardly any 90% silver. Big run on 90%. So they jacked the premiums up. For one, they want to sell it, you know, and get, you know, the best money they can. But for two, they raise real high premiums on a lot of stuff. A lot of times not with the intentions of selling a whole lot of it. It just looks pretty bad on a certain dealer's website when you go there and everything's sold out. Even when prices are extremely high premiums, they jack them up like that just to keep inventory. You know, you go through a website and you start seeing everything out of stock, you're going to question, you know, a lot of things and just get off the site and go somewhere else. But when you start seeing a lot of prices, then, you know, you at least know they got stuff. It's an option. If you want to pay it, fine. But in the long run, 99% of the time, you know, premiums get sky high, so people will sell it a lot of times, which will bring more supply of that item back onto the market. Premiums come down, and it starts all over again. You know, everything is in cycles. So, and it takes events. I know you guys, most of you have seen, you know, the Ukraine stuff going on over there with Russia and all these other countries, you know, that get into things. Well, that's the kind of stuff that moves the markets, metal markets anyway, commodities. You know, one day you might see silver go up, you know, maybe if something real bad happens, you might see it jump $1 in one day. And everybody thinks, oh, wow, to the moon, you know, gonna go up and up and up. Nah. It'll go up because of that event. When things calm down in a day or two, as they always do, then the price comes right back down. It's up and down because the big traders, Wall Street, the banks, you know, and the big players, they run it up, make money. They make money shorting it all the way down. So you don't want to get caught in a trap. You know, we always heard about fundamentals, you know. And right at this point in time, fundamentals ain't doing anything. It's events moving it. Now, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think events will move the markets. Volatility, you know, up and down, events will do that. Eventually, I don't know if it's going to be in a year, 10, 20, 30 years, I don't know. But when fundamentals do take over again, that will be the catalyst to get the prices high and keep them high. Events are short term. You know, it spikes up. When the event's over, it goes right back down. But a fundamental, you know, whether it's a great economy, we're using it up for new products and all this kind of stuff. When fundamentals take over, that'll get the price up there, but it'll keep it there for a lot longer period. You know, if you want to see silver get, you know, $50, $100 and stay there for, you know, a real long time, then that's going to be a fundamental deal. But these short-term spikes, we might run up, you know, to $22, $23. And then you hear everybody around the internet saying, oh, it's going to the moon. It'll never fall back. It always does, every time. As soon as that event's over, hey, you know, that's it. It's like putting air in a balloon, you know. When the event would be the air, that it swells the balloon. The price goes up and up and up. But when the event's over and all the air leaks back out, what happens? The balloon deflates, goes back to its original size, and you're more or less sitting around waiting on the next event. That's it. It's just like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. Even with fundamentals and everything else, regardless of what it is, what investments, you can invest in anything you want, but everything will have an ultimate high. Just like, I don't know, I would say like climbing a mountain, you know. You can climb and climb and climb. Climb Mount Everest or whatever mountain you want to climb, but eventually you'll get to the top. Gold and silver will eventually do the same thing. It won't continue to go up forever. That just won't happen. It's going to get, gold could be 5,000, 10,000, who knows. But eventually, one of these days, might not even be in our lifetimes, who knows. But eventually, it'll get to a certain point it'll just be so high, and it just won't go any higher. And even if it, you know, just say for sake of argument, it would get so high, you know, what good is it? Who you going to sell it to? If gold was to hit silver too, but say gold for example, if it was to get so high, you know, and you had an ounce, and the spot price could be, you know, $1 million, you know, per ounce of gold, you could look at your stack and say, man, I got a bunch of money here, you know. Well, if you can trade it, if you can barter with it and get, you know, good amount of stuff, you know, good barter, that's great. But if you're wanting to convert it into cash, don't expect to get it just for the simple fact it's so high. Who you going to sell it to? I mean, who's actually got enough money to give you to buy it? It's just not going to happen. So that's another thing to think about too. You know, you want to try to, you don't want to get out, you know, of course, and take a loss. You want to hang in there. But eventually you're going to have to get to a point to where, and keep checking all your avenues. When gold and silver and all the other commodities, whatever you're invested in, gets to a certain point, physical commodity, gold and silver, when they start getting extremely high, I mean, you know, say silver was to start climbing, getting up there 100, 200, 300. When it gets way up there, you really got to keep an eye on things as far as your avenues to sell it. Because the higher it gets, the less places you'll have to sell it, in my opinion. I mean, it gets so high, you're going to start seeing places paying a lot less than spot just because, you know, they're taking a risk as well. You know, you don't want to be buying a bunch of silver, you know, off of people at spot price. If spot's going crazy at $150 an ounce on silver, and you find somebody willing to sell it at spot, you got to be careful too, because you could buy it, and the next day it could drop a whole lot. I mean, yeah, all these pawn shops, we buy gold plates and all that, yeah, they're all a ripoff, we know that. But the basis of their ideas is understandable. They're taking a risk. When they're buying it at a real high level, hey, they don't like to hold stuff. They flip their stuff immediately. So that's another thing too. You know, you just got to be careful. Even buying it right at spot is not always the best thing, because who knows what spot will be a week from now, you know, or whatever. Now, when you're down still in these normal prices, like we're at now, I don't say normal, but, you know, prices we're more accustomed to, if you can get it at spot, I'd buy it hand over fist. No problem. But when there's a mania phase, you know, all these astronomical prices we've never seen before, all-time highs, that's when you got to be careful. So, just thought I'd, you know, leave you guys with some few things. I know I rambled on longer than I usually have, but hey, it's been a while since I've been on here. So, like I said, leave some comments, you know, or if you got any questions or whatever, you know, just leave them down below. And, well, I keep saying I'm going to get, you know, sign off here, but one last thing. I've been messing with Silver Saver still, you know, and I found out that's an easy way for me to actually buy, because I can throw it in there and accumulate metal. And with their new system, they got live buys, so you can, you know, take the money out of your bank account, put it into your cash account, which you can still withdraw back into cash form back to your bank if you want. It's not stuck there forever. But when you transfer it over, and when you do a live buy, you can buy anytime, 24/7, day, night, I mean, and even on weekends when the market's closed, it don't matter. But it'll show you, you know, your base price, your premium, how much you're paying altogether. And that's just an easy way for me, because I can buy a little here and there, let it add up, and then once you get 20 ounces, you can take delivery. Now, granted, there's still a delivery fee, but I've done it a few times within the last few months, and they got some generic stuff on there, buffalo rounds like I mentioned before. And if you buy, you know, you want 20 ounces of, say, buffalo rounds, it's all quoted on their site anyway. But you don't have to buy all the same thing. You can mix it up, but each item has an exchange rate. And when I get 20 buffalo rounds from them, it'll cost me 21 ounces. That's the way the rate goes. But it explains all this when you go through the process anyway of wanting to take delivery. But So if I got 21 ounces in my account is what I have to give them, and they send me 20 ounces. Which I think is fine because there's no shipping charge. It's all free shipping and everything. It's all fine there. So you don't have to worry about the extra fees there. And it's a lot easier because I can buy, you know, say if I only got $20, $25, $30 that I can spend, I can buy it, leave it set there. The ounces will just sit there. You know, I don't worry too much anymore like I did about looking over and seeing, well, I got 20 ounces in there and it's worth, you know, this much money. Excuse me. Worth this much money. I don't care. I just look at it as I got this many ounces. Try to still get your best price, of course. But just cash out and have them send it to you. A couple days, you got it. You know, no big deal. It just works out a lot easier for me that way. Because, you know, it gets a little pricey, you know, if you start going to all these online places and only can buy an ounce or two at a time, you know, and then if you try to save up enough money to buy 20 ounces at one time, then you don't know where spot's going to be or none of that kind of stuff. So Silver Saver, just throw in what you can. Be done with it, you get up to where you want and just cash out, they mail it to you, you got your stuff. And you know, it's just a whole, they've redesigned their site a lot the last few months. So yeah, the premiums are a little bit much at first, I think, but if you work at it, it gives you a chart. You know, you put in so much money over any length of time. It don't matter how much time period. It don't reset every month like it used to in the beginning. So you put in, you know, your money, and then you know, well, if I put in, you know, a few more $100 eventually, no rush, just when you get to it, then you'll drop down to the next premium and the next. And right now, since I've been at it a while, I, you know, can buy silver on there, or whatever, gold too, but I just mess with silver at the moment. And my premium is 3.99%. So at this $20 silver, I'm roughly paying 80 cents over spot when I buy an ounce on there. So it's not bad. I think it's about the cheapest place I can really get it. Then I just let it build up, you know, when I got 21 ounces there. I know I can cash out, get 20 ounces, they mail it to me. Done deal. Start the ball all over again. So it's just, you know, a real good place. And I'll post a link down in the description thing to Silver Saver so you can check it out, you know, for yourself. And it's real easy. And you don't have to worry about anything either. The only information you give them when you sign up, it's more or less just like you got a PayPal account and you're linking your bank account to it. That's it. Name, address, you know, general mailing information so they know where to send your silver if you want it. And link your account to it. They make a couple micro deposits, you know, within a couple days after you give them your bank account routing number thing. They'll make them 2 little deposits. Then you go back on there, confirm, you know, how much they were for. It might be like 2 cents and 4 cents or, you know, whatever, something little. And then that's it. Start doing your transfers. You can buy, you know, on a London fixed basis in the mornings. Just set it up and let it run. Or you can do the lie. However, you know, it's real simple, though. I mean, nothing complicated. And like I said, the setup process is almost identical to PayPal. And you don't have to worry about, you know, giving out social security numbers and all this different stuff and, you know, making it all complicated. You don't have to worry about it. Just have them send you your metal and be done with it. You can cash out and sell it at whatever the spot price is whenever you hit the button. I mean, that's an option too if you want the cash, but I've just been lately just having them send me the stuff and just stacking it up, you know, like I always did. So just another option. But like I said, I'll leave a link down that in the description box. But yeah, if anybody else, you know, has anything they want to comment or, you know, whatever, free to set up a private message if you want, which is a little more complicated on YouTube. Post them in the comments, you know, and I'll be sure and read them. And if you got any questions, I'll either answer them, you know, and something you want to know, like privately though, if you want, you can still leave a comment with your question. But just tell me that, let me know that you would like to answer a message, and I'll be more to answer you that way. So, however you want to do it, it's totally up to you guys. But, well, I think that's about all I can say for time being. But, you know, but at this point in time, regardless, gold, silver, whatever, you're not going to go wrong, you know. Prices are great, and personally, I wouldn't care if they stayed this way for quite a while. Just let them stay where they're at. that gives you a prime opportunity to buy a lot of cheap metal. So, you know, you hear all these people wanting it to go to the moon, but the longer it stays here, the more you can accumulate. So when it does go to the moon one of these days, you'll have a whole lot more of it that you'll be able to either sell or trade or whatever, a lot more value. So the longer it stays here, the more value you can accumulate for the end game. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. And like I said, leave some comments or anything else you want to, you know, maybe a video you want to see or anything. But for now, that's all I got to say, and I'll catch you guys later.